Hey, it's Rich, and we are on the SYM Symba this morning, heading downtown in Manhattan. And as I assume you can see, there is a purple balloon here attached to my right-hand mirror that someone put on the bike overnight. And I don't see any particular reason why I need to take it off, so I'm going to leave it on. So, as you can see, I'm on the scooter. My Royal Enfield motorcycle had a little trouble, and I ended up having to drop it off in the midst of a long trip at the dealer in New Haven, Connecticut. And I learned this week that it's a fairly serious problem. Royal Enfields are built essentially by hand in India, and the quality and workmanship are really variable, and I seem to have gotten a bad one. I don't want to go into the details, but I'm going to have to put $1,200 into the bike just to get it repaired, and there's no guarantee that one of the problems that I have will not recur. Because it seems to be tied to something structural about how one of the parts was made. And I don't really want to deal with that. So, unfortunately, I'm in a situation where I have a motorcycle that I bought for $7,000. I've put another, $800 into over the last year and a half in terms of repairs and so forth, and I'm going to have to put another $1,200 in just to get it rideable. But I'm not sure I could sell it for anywhere near what I put into it. I mean, any bike is going to take some amount of depreciation in the first year if you buy new, just like a car. But I suspect that if I sold this thing, even after putting $1,200 into it, I'd only get $4,000. And so I basically would have flushed $4,000 or more down the toilet in a year and a half, which is a hard pill to swallow. Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. So I might, I might just keep it. I do love the bike. I just love it more when it's reliable than I do when it isn't. So I'm gonna head over to 13th Street and Hudson and or 8th Avenue and get gas. Since I'm down to 1/5 of a tank, according to the very rough fuel gauge that comes with this thing, which isn't surprising. I did a lot of long distance over the last couple of weeks, and I keep running the tank down. It's not actually, I'm impressed by what this bike will do. I mean, I can do in theory, almost 100 miles if I run the tank all the way down at almost 100 miles to the gallon when I'm, on the highway. But I rarely let it run down that much. I typically fill up after about 60 miles when it's, at 0.4 or 0.3 at most. It is a beautiful day. I mean, we're very lucky. It's been a nice summer. Kind of hot, but the last week or so has been less humid and kind of less intolerable overall. I find that on this Symba, I have a lot more fun with it since I learned, mostly by reading the SYM forums that I should flog it. I should run the revs up really high. That it's perfectly fine to do that, because I typically am fairly conservative in the way I ride. But apparently it can take much worse abuse than I give it. And I'm actually thinking I might upgrade at some point to a SYM Wolf 150cc motorcycle. I don't know why, but I really like the little bikes. Not little in physical size, but you know, I mean, I don't need 1200 cc's of engine. And even on the highway, I mean, I take this thing, which is 110 cc's on the highway, and it does perfectly fine as long as I'm comfortable staying around 50 miles an hour. Which isn't, I mean, that wouldn't be practical if most of my motorcycle time was on the highway, but it isn't. Most of my motorcycle time is in the city, and I'm perfectly capable of doing occasional highway on this. And they say the SYM Wolf, which is 150 cc's, will cruise at 70 miles an hour, which honestly is fast enough for me. And it is nice. That was a Yamaha V-Star 650 there on the side of the road. I mean, look, at my age, I'm 48 years old. I have nothing to prove about how fast I can go or what kind of wheelies I can do or any of that stuff. I mean, at this stage of life, as long as I have fun and live to tell about it, I'm doing it correctly. So, gas station is very full of taxis most of the time. So we're filling up the bike. Doesn't take much. I put in 0.67 gallons, and it looks to be almost topped up. Let me see if I can get a little bit more in there. Gotta get there we go. Just a little nudge of the lever. Yeah, that's it. That's as far as it goes. So 0.675 gallons is all it took. I'm all set. Yep, I'm finished. All right, so Fuely tells me that I got about 83 miles to the gallon on this tank, which is not so good. But it was all city, and I was riding it really hard. One of my recent tanks, I got above 95. I think I got 98 something, so I know it's possible. All right, we're gonna head the rest of the way to work. If I can head across that way. That's actually where I'm going. Technically this is illegal move, but you know what? One of the things you learn in New York City is that you can do things that are illegal if they're not unsafe. Most of the time you get away with it. As long as you're not hurting anyone, putting anyone at risk, or hurting yourself. You know, in a city as crowded and dense as this one, If everyone played by the rules all the time, life would be impossible. What are guide wires for? You can hear a little rattle coming out of this bike when I'm at speed, and that's actually not an engine issue at all. It's I've got a physical rattle. One of the heat shield panels on the top of the exhaust is loose, and unfortunately the two screws that hold it in are fixed in place due to corrosion, so I can't back them out and I can't tighten them, and so it rattles when I move. One of the things that I learned is that if I wrap some copper wire around the gap tightly enough, it won't rattle, but that only holds for a day or so. Eventually those are my shoes some guy's wearing. Eventually I'll solve it properly, but in the meantime I'll just live with it because it doesn't hurt anything. It's not interfering with the drivability of the bike or anything like that. I think this balloon is probably going to come off after this ride because it's not actually that convenient to have an enormous purple balloon attached to my vehicle. Here we go, running a red light. The way you do when you're in motion and it's yellow. Sometimes I can follow bicycles through gaps in traffic, but I'm not feeling nimble right this minute. Undercover police pullover. I don't think I realized that the NYPD had undercover cruisers just pulling people over for normal traffic violations, but I think it's good that they do. And I hate these metal plates. I mean, my tracks is fine on them when it's dry, but I still don't like them. I want to get past this truck too. Fine at 35 miles an hour with plenty of power left. The thing about this bike is that if you want to do highway speeds, even low highway speeds, you can't just accelerate to 50 and leave it at that. You've got to work your way up by revving it high in each gear to get it to wring as much speed out of each stage of the upshift as you can. Otherwise you'll never get up as high as you want. Pickup to do just fine out of the gate next to cars. I'm perfectly competitive with other vehicles in terms of my ability to pull away from lights and so forth. Even on this little 110cc bike, it's just really well made and well geared. Just want to get left here. There we go. One of the things, the habits that I've gotten into with this small bike is I don't trust my mirrors. I use my mirrors to see who's behind me and to the sides, but pavement is just ridiculous right here. But I don't trust them. I turn my head if there's any possibility that someone is going to hit me. If I move, I look before I go. And here we are on my block. A lot of bikes park on this block because it's legal. all day long, which is not very common here in New York City. I mean, it's common in other neighborhoods, but here in the midst of this dense commercial district, it's only this block and the next block that are legal all day, and even they are not legal overnight. There's no parking 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. On this block, but motorcycles can fit in anywhere, and so a lot of bikes end up on these 2 blocks. In fact, we're going to be at the very end of the block, in a space here in the gap between the limit line and the crosswalk, which actually is legal in New York City, even though most people don't know that. So, this old BMW. That's a bike I haven't seen before. I know most of the people who park on this block, but that one I don't know. That thing has got some age to it. All right, so I'm going to turn the camera off, but I'll see you the next time.